By the cliffs of Berk where cold winds blow, lived Viking folk in a dragon-filled show, with skies full of fire and creatures that flew. The people were tough and the dragons were too. In the heart of the village lived Hiccup the small, a boy not so brawny, not fierce, not at all. While others flung axes and hunted with might, Hiccup dreamed big though he wasn't a knight. His father, Stoic the chief, proud and brave, led battles from boats through the wildest wave. He wished Hiccup stronger, a warrior bold, not tinkering with gadgets or dreaming untold. Then one smoky evening with flames in the sky, a dragon attack made the villagers cry. Hiccup, with courage and tools in his hand, tried to bring one down. He made his stand. He fired a net and it hit its mark. A rare night fury fell deep in the dark. But when he found it, all broken and still, he couldn't strike, he had lost the will. The dragon looked up with a frightened stare, not angry, not cruel, just wounded and scared. Hiccup stepped back, heart pounding fast. He freed the poor creature, kindness at last. He called him Toothless, the dragon so sleek, with eyes full of wonder and manners quite meek. They started to bond, both nervous but true. With fish and some sketches their friendship grew. In secret, Hiccup built him a tail, a fin made of leather so Toothless could sail. They soared through the sky with laughter and glee, two best friends as close as can be. Back in the village the training began, to fight wild dragons, a fierce Viking plan. But Hiccup, now wiser, chose not to fight. He learned dragons were friends, not foes in the night. He used tricks and smarts to tame them with peace, while hiding his bond with Toothless, a beast. The other young Vikings were puzzled and proud. "How does he do it?" they whispered aloud. But trouble arrived when the truth came to light, that Hiccup knew dragons and wouldn't fight. Stoic was angry, betrayed and dismayed. He thought Hiccup's kindness had all mislaid. Then Toothless was captured, a dragon betrayed, used as a guide to the beastly parade, where the Red Death, a monster so vast, waited below with a hunger so fast. The Vikings set sail to destroy the dark cave, not knowing they'd need Toothless to save. Hiccup stood strong. "I must make them see that dragons aren't monsters, they're just like me." He flew in with Toothless, brave as can be, dodging and diving across the sea. With flame in their hearts and trust in their flight, they battled the Red Death in the heart of the night. Through storm clouds and fire they gave it their all, until the great beast had its mighty fall. But the fight left scars, Hiccup was burned, and home in the village his fate was soon learned. He woke to find something lost in the fray. His leg was now gone, taken that day. But standing beside him, loyal and near, was Toothless, his dragon, his friend so dear. The village had changed, their hearts grown wide, with dragons and Vikings now side by side. No longer at war but soaring as friends. With love and with trust the story ends. So if you should wonder how dragons are tamed, it's not with a sword and not for fame, but with patience and kindness and choosing what's right, even when others just want to fight. city where towers stand tall, lived Peter Parker, quite normal and small. A student, a thinker, a kid with a dream, with science and kindness as part of his theme. But one fateful trip to a lab one fine day, a spider crept close in a curious way. It bit Peter's hand with a magical might, and gave him strange powers by day and by night. Now Peter could climb up the sides of the wall. He'd flip, twist, and leap, never fearing a fall. He'd sense things before they could happen or start, a tingling alarm from deep in his heart. He crafted a suit, red and blue in design, with webs he could shoot from a gadget so fine. He zipped through the city, above every street, with flips in the sky and no shoes on his feet. But powers, you see, come with choices so great. One night Peter's uncle would meet a dark fate. A thief Peter spared hurt someone he loved, and Peter cried out to the stars up above, "With great power comes great responsibility," were the words Uncle Ben spoke so endlessly. So Peter, now Spider-Man, made a firm vow to use all his gifts and help people right now. By day he was Peter, just shy, kind, and small. At night he'd be Spidey, the hero of all. He battled with villains from rooftops and heights, like Green Goblin's glider and Dr. October's fights. The lizard came crawling with scales green and wide, and Rhino would crash through the streets in his stride. Electro shot lightning from fingers so wild, but Spidey stayed brave, still the city's own child. He swung through the skyline with webs flying fast. Each building he passed was a blur as he passed. He saved folks from falling, from crashing or harm, with bravery stitched in each web from his arm. He juggled his homework, his crush, and his fears. He laughed with Aunt May and held back some tears. He'd sneak out at night and return with a bruise, yet still helped the weak, no matter the news. Sometimes he'd feel lonely or misunderstood, but deep in his heart he knew he did good. For even when people would doubt what he did, he'd still fight for justice, that brave-hearted kid. His friends never knew what he did in disguise. They just saw a boy with bright, curious eyes. But Spidey was more than a costume or name. He stood for what's right through trouble and flame. He'd rescue a cat or a runaway train. He'd swing through the thunder, the snow, or the rain. He'd cheer up a child, he'd battle with might. He'd stand tall for truth in the darkest of night. The city adored him, though some thought him rude. They never saw Peter, just Spidey's brave mood. But he never asked for fame, gold, or praise, just helping each soul in 1,000 small ways. He faced Mysterio's tricks and illusion-filled fights, and Sandman, who towered in earthy great heights. Each villain had stories, and Spidey could see that even bad guys had once longed to be free. He tried to be kind, even when things went wrong. He knew in his heart where the brave must belong. He'd lend out a hand or a kind word or two, because heroes bring hope, and that's what he'd do. He'd swing by a playground, wave down to a kid, who'd cheer and say, "Look at the great thing he did." He'd smile from the shadows, unseen in the night, just glad he could help, and then vanish from sight. So when you see someone who's quiet and shy, remember the Spider Kid swinging up high. He might be unseen, with his mask hiding tears, but has faced his own doubts and conquered his fears. For Spider-Man's lesson, the heart of this rhyme, is to stand up for good no matter the time. Be brave, be kind, and do what you can. And maybe, just maybe, you're Spider-Man.